Hey, this is Linsdau, Polar Explorer and Motivational Speaker. Here I am in Denver International Airport, just after a speaker training before I head off to the next event. Having a wonderful time here, but what I'm going to tell you about is one of the tricks about surviving a lot of travel and being in many airports and what you can do about it. Travel in airports can be really challenging because, as you can see, my eyes are kind of blurry. Of course, I'm looking at there and not actually at the camera, and sometimes your mind gets a little bit foggy. And how do you deal with it? Well, check it out. Back there, if you can see that guy back there, he's actually found a, I shall say, a non-busy location in the airport. And you can see, I don't want to point the poor guy out. You can just see his foot hanging out right there. But in many airports, there are actually areas of what are called concourses, where actually I would say fairly underused. I mean, most airports when you go to, they always look like crazy chaos. You're in there and it's utter insanity. I've done other videos talking about travel, such as how to get first class service with Clear. Check out that video, link below. It's definitely worth it. If you're viewing on the phone, hit that little arrow down in the right hand side and you'll see what I'm talking about. That's where you can find my links. But how do you actually find a place? I mean, if you look behind me, it is like totally empty versus if you look down here. Ooh, yeah, busy. Pretty interesting, huh? Now, is that to say that every airport's going to have a little bit of a quiet zone where you can get some reading done and things like that? Maybe not. I mean, up here they've got speakers, so when the speakers come on, they talk about the next flight, like I'm going to have to board my flight in 10 minutes. But one of the things is let me get the book out here, when you fly to any location in the country and you've got more than, an hour layover in the airport, what do you do with it? Do you spend time on your phone? Do you talk with your family? Do you read a book like I'm reading David Averin's book? It's not who knows, or it's not who you know, it's who knows you. See? There are the final boarding stages. So can you get away from the announcements and things? No, that is really difficult. So I'm going to get up here and talk extra loud, hopefully to drown out the announcer on the phone. But what you'll discover is if you start wandering around the airports and you have enough time, you'll actually find certain areas of airports that I wouldn't say are completely abandoned, but there's one guy over there, a mom and a baby, and then one dude sleeping back here, and that's it. Now, if you're just running from concourse to concourse, perhaps the natural inclination is to sit with a bunch of other people, which is totally fine. But if you need some quiet time, you can wander around the concourse and maybe find some isolation. But one of the tricks is, look for, a flight's not leaving for 3 hours, or there's absolutely nothing at that gate. What happens, at least in America, is that people start wandering around and, this looks empty. And we do the nuclear equivalent of not critical mass, where Americans tend to space themselves out and isolate themselves pretty well. Just like if you got in an elevator in America with a bunch of Americans, we will do everything in our power to maximize the space between each person. It's just how we are. We're in a country with, at least in the West, like in Denver, there's a lot of space here. You go to a country like India or China or Japan, they just cram you in. I mean, I've been in Japan where I was on a train, I got, subway, and crammed in there, and my face was literally against the glass like this, and I had to ride the train till the glass slid off. I mean, that's just how packed it is in some of those countries. Now, I've been to India, I've been to China, I've been to Japan, and I've had that experience. Is it possible to find some quiet away places? Absolutely. Was it easy to find in the airport? No, it definitely wasn't. But are there places like that? Absolutely. So one of the things I do that when I travel to reduce my stress is I show up to the airport pretty darn early. Gone are the days when you can show up 10 minutes before, zip through the metal detector and hop on your plane, and bazzow, you're done. Doesn't happen. Ooh, hey, check it out. They're starting to announce for my flight. Sweet. So I'm going to have to cut this one a little bit short, but one of the keys is show up extra early because it's so stressful. Oh, by the way, you got to get parking. Oh man, that bus takes 15 minutes to loop around, and then another 10 to get there, and then you don't know where to go and you're disoriented, and the stress starts building up. And you don't want to have that happen. So if you arrive extra early, even 2 hours before, I know you say that's kind of silly, but do you want a stressed out experience where you forget your purse or your wallet in the rental car and you run back and you're all panicked and now you're pumped full of adrenaline and irritated and the kids are screaming and everything's going sideways? Or do you show up extra early and just have I would say a minor dose of boredom? That's actually a good way to do it, because then you have the opportunity, like before there was a father and mother and a couple of boys running around screaming because they actually just wanted to get away from the other people because their kids were just going nuts. It was actually kind of funny. I mean, it's no big deal. I was just trying to read my book, get some peace and quiet. They're trying to be not rude to most people, so that's just the nature of the business. Unless you have enough money to hire a charter jet and fly your own, which I guess it's not that terribly expensive. You can fly from Jackson Hole to San Diego for, I think it was about $5,000. Not actually that bad. But a lot of airports have places, well, except for that lady there, but a lot of places, hey, just like that. And a lot of people just come here and wander around. So if you spend just a little bit of time poking around and you're here early, you can have a much calmer experience in the airport and avoid the total insanity and find good isolation places where like you have no problems. So that is definitely one of the travel tips that I'll give for you this week. And now it sounds pretty absurd, show up early. But believe me, with air travel the way it is nowadays, airlines' entire goal is to fill that entire plane up to the last seat, so you're chunked in between two people or however it is, because that maximizes their profit. I mean, they're in business to make money. They're not in business to make your friendship or anything like that. They derive business from making you, I guess, feel like you're their friend, and they want to provide as much service as possible to keep you as happy as possible. So, oops, are they boarding my plane? Talk about being late. Guess I'll just have to start getting it going here. So I'm going to put my book away. So, of course, when you get to the airport 3 or 4 hours early for an event and then still almost missed your flight, now that's just a silly mistake. So what I do is I try and find my isolated zone relatively near my gate so I can see what's going on, because I've had it where I'm going along and all of a sudden, oh, gate change. I'm in the C concourse of Denver and all of a sudden, gate change to concourse A. That's a long ways away, so you don't want to be so isolated where you don't know what is going on. Also, there are apps for a lot of airlines now where you can see the gate changes and the updates. Like, I'm flying Southwest right now and they bling me, hey, by the way, just current update, no updates. Perfect. Or I'll fly Delta and there I can check their app and see, hey, what's my current gate status? So I'm going to put my camera down here, my phone down here. Alrighty, people are boarding for Boise, and I am late in the schedule. San Diego, not going to San Diego, but there you are. So definitely when you're finding your isolation bay, just remember to check updates every so often, because things happen. I've had to run halfway across Chicago O'Hare simply because of a gate change, and I ran around. It was totally crazy. One other thing, I just walked away from my area, and I'm going to just glance under here, look around. Good. I have everything with me, including the trash that I'm going to throw away, because I've seen people leave stuff all the time. Bags of bought purchases, never a purse or a backpack or anything, but I've found multiple purchases from various stores that people might have used as gifts. It was just kind of terrible. I felt bad for the poor people, so I was like, dang, that stinks. You lost the gift that you're going to give to your kid or whatever you promised. So again, the whole key is not to rush it. Don't go crazy. Chill out. Find a place that is like totally empty because there are those places in multiple airports across the US and in some international destinations. And the worst that happens, you have some young boy driving his mother nuts. Yeah, you know, it's generally not too bad, but certainly better than the huge crowd of people. And I'll come down here. Boise is boarding. That's not me, but my Portland flight is happening now. I'm gonna throw my trash in the trash can here, and I'll show you down here. It's actually not that busy, but just to give you an idea, it's not that busy at all. But if you look, oh, here we go. Ontario's boarding. So it's actually not too busy down there, but like the gate flying out of Montana starting to get going. People are cruising around. So here we go, off to the next location. My name is Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. Please like and comment on my video. Subscribe to the channel below. Just hit the subscribe. Please support me on Venmo, PayPal, and Patreon. And if you want to read the links and the information below, and you're looking on a phone, just click the little arrow in the right-hand bottom of the corner of the video, and you'll get all the information. Thank you very much for watching, and safe traveling.